I'm really scared to make this video, but there's something I've been needing to talk about, even though I really don't want to. It's hard because I want to talk about a struggle that I've been going through, and I feel like as a manifestation coach, you're not supposed to struggle. You're just supposed to have the perfect life where you get everything you want quickly and easily, because that's what I teach other people how to do. So if I can't do that for myself, what kind of teacher am I, right? But I have to talk about this because I feel like talking about this could really help somebody. Actually, I feel like talking about it could also really help me. So fuck it. I'm just gonna do it. And people can think what they want. Because I would rather help a few good people than lie to impress people who don't support me anyways. So I'm going to get to what I'm struggling with in just a second, but first I want to talk about my plan. So I want to make a video diaries series, the Comeback Diaries, where you can watch in real time how I go from being stuck on a manifestation for years to hopefully getting unstuck and finally manifesting what I want. Even if this journey feels messy, even if I look stupid sometimes, and I'm sure I will, but I think it's important to show that because I'm sure that so many of you can relate to feeling stuck and questioning everything. But I want to show you how to navigate out of that stuck feeling when it seems like nothing is working and everything sucks, and no matter what, it never gets better. Because even then, things do get better, and I'm going to prove it to you and to myself. Well, that's the hope. And so I'll be revealing all of my best tips and routines and things that I'm doing to get back on track, especially the little mindset changes that often make the biggest difference. And also, I'll be trying some things that probably won't work because even though I'm a manifestation coach, I'm not perfect. We all struggle sometimes for years, and that's okay. And maybe some of you will see this and try along with me, or at least just decide not to give up on yourself. You can copy what works for me, and hopefully we can all become better manifestors together. And by the way, this series is meant for literally everybody who wants to manifest anything. So maybe your goals are different than mine, but that's completely fine because at the end of the day, everything manifests the same way anyways. So let's take this journey together. Okay, so let's really get into the dirt of it all because for the past 2 years, I've really been struggling to manifest money. And that's been taking a huge toll on my self-concept. And a big part of my identity is tied to being financially successful because, except for a few really bad years, I've always been financially successful. Sometimes really, really, really successful. I mean, my business, Manifest Best, made $500,000 in just 3 years with no help at all, no employees, no college degree, just me. So this series will be especially helpful if you're also struggling to manifest money. But again, it's also going to help you manifest things like love, appearance changes, and self-concept because I've struggled with all of those things too. And I've come back from situations that seemed impossible to overcome. So even though money is my main focus here, we're also going to talk about love. See, I went from getting cheated on in every relationship and the love of my life dumping me 3 times to marrying him and having the healthiest relationship I could have ever imagined. And how we maintain a fun and loving connection even when we struggle with burnout from raising a toddler all by ourselves with no breaks and no babysitters. Because finding your soulmate or getting your ex back is one thing, but then you have to maintain that relationship for the rest of your life. So we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about self-concept and mental health because currently I'm struggling with self-concept as it relates to money. But I've also gone from having severe depression for 2 decades, even being hospitalized several times. The doctor said I was never going to get better. They said, we're just going to put you on some meds and hopefully that will keep you alive. I went from that for 2 decades to being happy almost every day without medication. And that too is something that you don't just fix once. You have to learn how to maintain happiness once you get it and not just be happy because your circumstances happen to be good. And we're definitely going to talk about body image, weight loss, healthy eating, and workout routines. Because if you don't know, I recently lost 90 pounds. And I'm really excited to share how I did it, especially the mental aspect of extreme weight loss and how to maintain it for the rest of your life. All of these situations seemed impossible to manifest through, and I definitely felt really stuck back then. So I know I'm going to get through this too. And showing my journey will help you manifest through your stuckness right along with me. We're in this together. So let me give a little bit of backstory about how I went from making $500,000 to not really making anything. Because when you hear the backstory, it's all going to make sense. And let me know in the comments if you can relate to any of this so I don't feel so alone. So it was the summer of 2024 and my life was practically perfect. My business was booming. I was making 10 to 15,000, up to $20,000 a month. It was a lot. And I was doing it just by posting little TikToks and genuinely helping hundreds and hundreds of clients. My marriage was absolutely thriving and I was in one of the best shapes of my life. And I was even training for a half marathon. It seemed like the perfect time to start a family. So we decided to have a baby. And the first few months of my pregnancy were rough, but I feel like that's normal. But then it was June or July and DreamCon came to Austin. So if you don't know what DreamCon is, it's an anime convention and it's really, really cool. So it's also a lot of walking. And me being 4 months pregnant, walking 20,000 steps a day, I really overdid it. And I ended up pulling a tendon in my leg. I tried just resting it off, but my leg kept getting worse and my belly kept getting bigger and my hormones were aggressively widening my hips. It really hurt, so I stopped running. I couldn't lift weights anymore. I could barely get out of bed. It got so bad that I started looking into getting a wheelchair. But we measured and that wouldn't really fit through the doors in our house, so I just ended up buying a cane. I was riding those little scooters every time I went to the grocery store. I was disabled. And a few months later, I could barely even walk to the bathroom by myself. Um, the doc, I'm sorry. It was a really hard time. And the doctors the doctors were saying that it was like just a rough pregnancy and that there was really nothing that they could do because I was pregnant. And that maybe after I gave birth, they could actually do something to treat me because when you're pregnant, if you don't know, You can't really take many medications. They definitely can't do, x-rays and things like that. So I kind of just had to deal with it. And I was basically just stuck in bed all day, every single day for months and months and months in pain. It was really depressing. And I couldn't really even work on my phone. I couldn't get up to film TikToks. And I was just so stressed and uncomfortable. And I was in so much pain. Um, so my husband and I just decided that it would be best for me and for the health of our baby if I just stopped working until the difficult pregnancy was over. And so that's what I did. I stopped working, and all I could do was watch TV and eat. And I ended up gaining 80 pounds. And I got super depressed. Like, I was literally crying every single day. And there was nothing I could do about it because, again, I couldn't take medication for the pain besides a little bit of Tylenol every now and then. And I didn't want to start antidepressants because it does give some risk to the health of your baby. And it just wasn't worth it for me. So I just had to wait. Just had to wait to give birth and maybe things would get back to normal. But that's not what happened. I had a really traumatic birth. Um, it was way worse than they say, at least for me. I was planning on doing an unmedicated water birth and meditating through it. And I had practiced, I had bought a course teaching me how to do self-hypnosis, and I learned about all of the natural ways to give birth. And I was so confident in that birth plan, I didn't even consider other options. But when I went into labor, it was so painful. I had to be rushed to the emergency room in an ambulance, and I had to be medicated, and it was very, very, very traumatic. I had 33 hours of labor, 3 hours of pushing. Really, it was really brutal. I was praying to God to not let me die. Um, and I don't even believe in God. I don't know. It was really, it was really hard. And after I gave birth, it took me months to be able to just walk down the block again. And I was so exhausted from all the sleepless nights, and I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. Now, my husband has been amazing through everything. He's been so helpful, so patient. I barely even changed a diaper for the first several weeks. I got to just recover in bed with my baby and just focus on healing and getting to know my perfect little boy. And it was a huge blessing for sure to just be able to recover. But that still doesn't make it easy. I was in a lot of pain every single day. I had debilitating back pain for almost all hours of the day and night. It was physically agonizing, but even more mentally exhausting. I hated the way that my body looked and felt. I love my son and he is so, so worth it, but it was really, really hard. It's a weird feeling being so excited about your new baby, but also feeling like you've completely lost yourself and that every day is a battle. But eventually, after seeing a lot of doctors and dieting my ass off, literally, I was able to lose even more weight than before I was pregnant. I got visible abs for the first time in my life, and my chronic pain is now almost completely gone, which is like such a blessing. Such a blessing because it was really, really bad for years. And I didn't really want to be here anymore. But it's so much better now. And I'm so, so, so thankful for that. And as things were getting better, I decided that I was going to try working again. Um, so I started posting on social media after months and months and months off, but I was barely even getting like a few hundred views when I used to get tens of thousands. Like I have videos that have 1 million views, 250,000, 500,000. Like I'm I'm used to success and I just wasn't getting it. And I decided to try running ads again, but the ads that I was running were only bringing in really broke leads who had no intention of investing in their goals. Like, I don't even know why they clicked on the ads or booked the calls. I have no idea. But I felt like I was putting in a lot of effort and I was getting absolutely nowhere. I was dismayed. And I kept trying, of course, but I also had to take care of my child because, as you can imagine, it's really difficult to try to film TikToks and coach clients with a screaming baby in the room. So I tried for months, but I was barely making even a couple $1,000s a month, which, I mean, it's not that bad, but it's definitely not enough money to justify losing that time with my child. So my husband offered again to just let me stop working and to just focus on playing with our son. He makes enough for all of us, so technically I don't have to work, which, yes, it is a huge, huge privilege. But like I said, a lot of my self-worth is tied up in how much money I make. And I'm realizing that that's a big problem. So I tried to take time off to just be a mom, but it was hard. And I kept trying to sneak in work here and there, but it never really went anywhere. I was getting less traffic than ever on my social media, and I was only making like a few $100s a month. I felt like a failure. I felt so unappreciated, so unseen, and kind of worthless because if I wasn't bringing in a paycheck, what was my worth? It's really unhealthy thinking, I know. So then I tried day trading. I figured I could just work for like an hour a day and bring in at least an extra few $100s a week. That seemed like a fair trade. No pun intended, but day trading is hard. Like really hard. And I had some really big wins, but even bigger losses. And eventually I got scared and I sabotaged almost every trade and I ended up losing a few $1,000s, which felt super embarrassing and shameful. And yet again, my self-worth was entangled with financial loss. But that brings us to pretty much current day. My TikTok accounts are shadow banned or something because they're barely getting 50 views. My income is down from like 15,000 a month on average to just a few $100s a month. And day trading has become so stressful that I had to take almost all of my money out of my trading accounts and just put it in a high yield savings account so that I could stop obsessing about making money. But I did leave a little bit in my trading account and I still have been trying a little bit almost every day because the FOMO is just eating away at me. And I can't stand to see the potential to make money and not take action on it. But I know it's really just not worth the stress. And I probably just need to get a new phone and a new account so that I can start posting and getting views again. And I need to just move my money to a managed trading account so I don't have to think about it. And I'm trying to post more on YouTube. I'm having fun with it at least. And I'm buying lottery tickets, which I actually feel really good about because it's literally just 30 bucks a month. And I am 100% certain that I am going to win at least 6 or 7 figures at some point. That I know, but it hasn't happened yet. So right now, nothing is taking off and I just feel stuck. Stuck, 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 stuck. I know I am in such a privileged position, literally, where my husband can pay for everything that we need and I don't technically have to work, but I'm not the kind of girl who ever wanted that. I have never seen myself as someone who just sits back while their husband takes care of them. I am not that girl. I have always seen myself as someone who makes really good money. So when my circumstances are telling me that, hey, you're incapable of bringing in income, it makes me feel like a stranger in the mirror. And I don't know whether to just give up and relax and be a mom and just figure out the money stuff later, because I know that that would bring me peace, and peace is like the best way for money to just flow to you effortlessly. I know that. But I'm torn between that and continuing to try because I really am persistent and I am confident that I'm fully capable of figuring this money stuff out again, eventually. The answer is probably somewhere in the middle. And so there are some things that I would like to try that really hit that middle ground between doing absolutely nothing and relaxing and continuing to try even harder. I want that middle ground of someone who is wealthy and makes money easily without having to try harder or spend more time away from my son. So I am going to just decide that money is inevitable for me and just be that version of me, which means continuing to post on social media for my business, but not getting hung up on view counts. It literally only takes one video to change everything. I've done it before. I've gotten millions and millions of views. I know I can do it again. And I'm gonna lean into method acting as part of my plan to just decide. I'm going to be playing in my imagination instead of trying to use my mind to control an outcome, because I know that doesn't work. And I want to dress the part too, because every time in my life where I've been really successful financially, I was always like dressing up and looking my best. And lately I've been living in sweats and messy buns, which is fine, but it's time to change that. And I'm really excited to experiment with style again. So that's also part of what this video diary will be about. And doing some manifestation techniques again because I pretty much stopped for a long, long time. And when I started trying them again, it was just to control a 3D outcome, which again, I know never works. So I'm going to use them to get in touch with my most abundant self instead of using them to try to control money. And I'm definitely going to continue focusing on diet and exercise because that really makes me feel the most like me. And I really just enjoy eating healthy and exercising. Recently, I hit my target weight, but the very same day, literally that afternoon, I just stopped trying. I abandoned everything that I was doing right. To be fair, I did have a flare-up of my pregnancy injury, and I did have to stop exercising for a few weeks to recover, but I'm ready to get back into some gentle movement and definitely back into healthy eating because for the past week after I hit my goal weight, I've been eating nothing but McDonald's, frozen pizza, and ice cream. And it doesn't feel good. Everything I eat doesn't taste as good as I think it will. And afterwards, I just feel kind of guilty and sluggish and sad. I feel like a foreigner in my body again because those habits really don't align with my highest self. And that's one thing I would encourage everyone to look out for is self-sabotage. Because when you get really close to your goals or even after you reach them, your old shitty identity knows that it's dying. So it seduces you back into bad habits and destructive decisions. That's what happened to me literally the day I hit my weight goal. I played it off as a celebration of reaching my goal, but it was really just my old fat identity luring me back in. I'm just being honest. And that's why you often experience the most doubt and failure right before you manifest everything that you want. It's actually a really good sign that you're super close to success. But you do have to be strong enough to say no, or like me, just get back on track once you've wandered off. So that's the goal of this video diary series. I want to show you in real time how to deal with common struggles when your manifestation has been stuck for years. I want to show how doing less can actually get you more and which strategies are actually effective and which ones are just going to drain your time and energy. We're going to talk about money, relationships, health and appearance, and a lot of self-concept and mental well-being. Plus, experiment with some style along the way. So if any of that sounds useful or fun to you, hit subscribe. Duh. I'm super excited to take this journey with you because we can all manifest what we want together. Thanks so much for watching and happy manifesting!